Are you thinking about buying or building a house in New Braunfels? Do not, I repeat, do not make these mistakes. Some could cost you tens of thousands of dollars and a whole lot of stress. If you are new here to my channel, thank you so much for coming aboard today, because every week we're putting out relevant and timely information just like this about what it's like to live in New Braunfels. The biggest mistakes you could make if you're buying or building a house in New Braunfels. If you're building from scratch, let's say a custom home, do not make the mistake of ignoring what's called topography. Many people make this mistake and are forced to sell their land many times at a loss. Now, part of the beauty of New Braunfels are the hill country views. But if you fall in love too hard with the view of your future home, it'll end up turning into a nightmare. That's because that slope or topography on your new piece of land will need some extra foundation work to make the house even with the land. So even before you buy the land, make sure you walk it first, preferably with a builder or a realtor experienced with new construction. The last thing you want to do is buy land not knowing it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars more for that extra concrete, that extra foundation work, which will most likely put you over budget. Then you're stuck with land you can't build on, and many have made this mistake. So before you fall in love with the view, just make sure it's practical for you. Another mistake I see people make is trying to time the market in New Braunfels. Do not try and overestimate builder incentives and discounts in New Braunfels. New construction is a fast-growing section of our housing inventory in New Braunfels, and in order to sell homes, builders are buying down rates and giving you money for closing costs, and some are offering free appliances. The longer a house sits without being sold, the more incentives you get. But I will tell you that these deep builder incentives and discounts, they won't last forever. Once interest rates come down, and they eventually will, then more buyers will jump into the housing market here in New Braunfels and buy homes, and then builders will no longer have to incentivize buyers. So do not build your budget around the idea that builders will continue to offer these record incentives and discounts forever. Something else buyers also overlook is our flood zones and water issues in New Braunfels. We talked about flood zones in New Braunfels earlier this summer after the tragic floods upstream from us in Kerrville, Comfort, and Hunt. Fortunately, New Braunfels has Canyon Lake, which serves two purposes. One, it's flood control for downstream communities like New Braunfels. So when heavy rains hit the Guadalupe watershed, Canyon Lake then stores those floodwaters in its flood pool. The Army Corps of Engineers then controls releases through the dam into the Guadalupe River. Without the Canyon Dam, floods in New Braunfels would be far more severe. Canyon Lake also serves as a water source for many hill country neighborhoods. We'll get to that in just a second. While we do have protection from the Canyon Dam, we also have flood hazard zones. And those zones in Canyon Lake and New Braunfels here, those zones are in the river or lake areas, the low-lying areas or the runoff areas. It's also how close you are to the dam and drainage patterns and how much concrete is around you. The easiest way for you to tell if your future property is in a flood hazard zone is by checking the address on FEMA's Flood Map Service Center. The City of New Braunfels website also addresses flood hazard zones. Water issues, no doubt. With our spike in population and our drier weather in New Braunfels, we've faced and are still facing water issues here every day. Don't make the mistake thinking you're going to be able to water your grass by irrigation every day in New Braunfels. You're not, which is why many homeowners have shifted to dryscaping. There's a stage 3 water restriction in hill country, which means you can water your grass every other week by irrigation. You can actually water it by hand every day, just not by irrigation every day. Same thing in city limits in New Braunfels. You can water by hand every day, but only by irrigation once a week in city limits. So in city limits, once a week; in hill country, every other week by irrigation. Something else buyers often regrettably overlook is not getting an inspection on their home, which is their largest investment. Whether you're buying a home or building one, we always highly recommend our clients get 2 inspections per phase. 2? Yes, first of all, we highly recommend you hire a third-party inspector to inspect your home. If you're buying a resale home in New Braunfels, it's older, so naturally there are going to be likely deficiencies that may pop up. You have an option period when you contract on a resale home in New Braunfels. Use that period, use that time to order your inspection and to address any concerns you may have from that inspection report with the seller before the option period is up. If you're buying a resale home, again, I recommend 2 inspections, the initial one and a follow-up re-inspection to make sure the fixes you requested got fixed. New construction homes, depending on what stage you contracted on the house, let's say you start from scratch. First, we recommend ordering a pre-pour inspection where your inspector comes out and inspects the foundation site before the foundation is poured, making sure the plumbing, the rebar, the grading, and the forms are all installed correctly, because once that slab is poured, you cannot fix those issues. Then after framing, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing is in, that's called the pre-drywall stage. Order another inspection to verify that everything behind the walls was installed correctly, because once drywall goes up, there's no going back. It's too late to inspect then. So get that done, and when the builder says they fixed everything, then we highly recommend you send back your inspector for a re-inspect to make sure that all those fixes were made by the builder, or you can have your builder send photo evidence of the fixes. Then we recommend another 2 inspections on the final stage of the house, the initial inspection and then the follow-up re-inspection before you close. If you're buying a new construction home in New Braunfels, the final stage is called the blue tape walk, where you're literally putting blue tape over those areas that need to be addressed. Now at this stage, it's mostly cosmetic, paint touch-ups, nicks and dings, maybe some chipped flooring or improper flashing on the exterior, more insulation needed in the attic, possibly drainage issues, which is major, but mostly at this stage, it's cosmetic. You may be saying, wait a second, Rod, why am I gonna spend hundreds of dollars on inspections when it's a brand new perfect home? First of all, no home is perfect. And the builder, Rod, says they have their own inspectors that they inspect it themselves. Well, the builder works for the builder, not for you. So in our experience, mistakes are made. It's not a perfect world. And your construction manager is not always getting accurate information from their trades working on the house on what's done and what's not done. And your construction manager probably is not walking your house every second of every day to check on those fixes. Construction managers are responsible for multiple homes, so it's really important to work with the builder to deliver the home that you want. The more eyes on the home, the better. Any builder in New Braunfels will tell you that. We're on a blue tape walk with our buyers. We strongly encourage our buyers to be there as well, because once the house closes and the buyers move in and see that they need some paint touch-ups, the builder's not gonna come back and do paint touch-ups after the house closes. We get this question a lot. Where, Rod, are the non-HOA neighborhoods in New Braunfels? Because some families want the freedom of no rules and other families want the structure of an HOA community. So don't make the mistake of searching for a home for days, weeks, months, and then contracting on it, not knowing I thought it was HOA, I thought it was non-HOA. I'd say 100% of our newer communities in New Braunfels are HOA communities. That means you have to pay HOA fees every quarter and abide by certain rules about maintaining your property. Most are HOA neighborhoods. They're not thousands of dollars every year. The fees run anywhere from $300 to $1,200 a year. We did a video on non-HOA neighborhoods in New Braunfels if you want to check that one out. Many of our non-HOA neighborhoods are east of our main highway. No rules, anything goes. But many of our non-HOA neighborhoods are very well maintained to the point you can't tell if it's an HOA or non-HOA. All right, once you find the home you love, it checks most of your boxes. The next step is negotiating the contract. Do not make the mistake of not negotiating the price and terms of your house. We're just in a slower market in New Braunfels, have been for the past 3 years. So during that time, it's been a time of cooperation on both sides, buyers and sellers trying to get these homes sold through negotiation. We just have fewer buyers in New Braunfels compared to 2020, 2021, and 2022. Elevated mortgage rates have created a lot more inventory in New Braunfels the last 3 years, which has created opportunities for our buyers to negotiate a contract in their favor. It's not just about the purchase price, you also negotiate terms. You can ask the seller for concessions to buy down the rate or to pay for closing costs. You can negotiate the upgrades or repairs. You can also negotiate the timeline for closing and also ask the seller if they want to leave any of their non-realty items behind. I've seen buyers get thousands of dollars in closing costs covered by the seller, whether it's an existing home seller or a builder, only if they knew how to ask though. And the key to the ask is knowing what's reasonable in this specific market in New Braunfels. Here's the thing, none of this matters if you're not pre-approved. Too many buyers skip this step and land up losing homes because they're not prepared. Your pre-approval tells you what you can actually afford and shows that you are serious. I mean, would you walk into the grocery store without money? So getting your pre-approval is the most important step to getting started. But even having that piece of paper, that pre-approval, the biggest mistake I see buyers make is going into a build or a buy blindly here without working with somebody who knows this specific market. As you found out today in this video, New Braunfels is just unique. It's a different market. You cannot copy and paste this video and put it in another market. We're just unique here. Geographically, 46 square miles large, topography, flood zones, different types of surfaces, from a softer clay on one side of New Braunfels to limestone on the other side, new build incentives, water issues, HOAs, non-HOAs, building a new house, negotiating your largest investment. It's a lot. Working with somebody who knows all this is a better outcome for you and just a lot less stress. So if you plan to buy or build a New Braunfels, I'm your Zen. I'd love to be your real estate resource of choice. You can email me, you can call me, or you can shoot me a text. As always, thank you so much for coming to and watching our videos every week, and we'll see you on the next one.